All right, all right. Check one, check one. This is it. Here we go. Welcome to the Cannabis Coffee Hour with your host, me, Rob Cantrell. I got a great episode and awesome guest. You can check him out all over Brooklyn. Hilarious comedian, young on the come up, but doing his thing. Absolutely hilarious. Please give it up for Rufat Agayev, everybody. Rufat.
Hello, hello, hello.
Rufat. I wanted just to get that cheesy intro out of the way, man, and just like talk to you normal because I miss you, man. I haven't seen you in a long time. We're coming out of a year of a weird pandemic, and you were a young comedian, 3 or 4 or 5 years in, but you were working your ass off. And I always thought you were hilarious and funny. And you're not my age. You're like in your 20s or 30s or whatever. But how have you been, man? How have you been swimming through all of this?
Whew. Man, the pandemic has been, I can't complain, and that's feels like a shitty thing to say because of how bad it's been on everybody. But I think for me, for the most part, it's been good. But I mean, I went from living with somebody to not living with somebody. But even that, in a sense, is like been a blessing. No hard feelings. And I think it was a rest that I needed, man, because for so much of my life, I've had this immigrant mentality of just like work, gotta be working. And it really caused me to realize that like, hey man, you'll still be funny and you'll still know how to tell jokes if you just like take a break.
Yeah, if you slow down, man, the universe definitely. Because before this, you were an international hip hop superstar. Before comedy, Rufat's backstory is one of the most fascinating. I find you one of the most interesting dudes I've come across into my time of stand-up. But he is an immigrant from Palestine.
Azerbaijan.
What's that?
Azerbaijan.
Where's Azerbaijan?
Azerbaijan is north of Iran.
Wow. Is north of Iran. And how long did you live there?
I lived there for 5 years. So, it wasn't that long, but.
Dude, that's long enough. 5 years. And the earlier, the more imprint, the more trauma like reverberates forever.
I learned that recently.
So was America, and then you landed in Florida. Was it, did you have a good childhood, or did you like it, or was it too weird?
No, we landed in Erie, Pennsylvania.
Oh, cool.
It was Erie, Pennsylvania. And we basically got here because of an international institute. I guess there were like a lot of immigrants were coming into Erie through this institute. And so, yeah, that's how we ended up here in 92. And did I like America? America was cool as hell, man. I spent my formative years watching, BET and MTV, Rock and Jock and Rap City the Basement.
Yeah, man. 92, you came right in at some of the best hip hop. I mean, I think everybody will claim their own year as like their best years of hip hop. But you did come into like when media, if you just wanted to do a bowl of sugar and sit in front of the TV and watch some funky beats, it was the era. And some of the most exciting music videos of all time, because Puff Daddy's budgets on music videos were in the millions because it was like these big studios. It's wild to think about. Like these record studios, the record business is fascinating right now because we touch on it a little bit as comics. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man, you just sat there and enjoyed all this. So was it all hip hop, basketball? What was it?
Man, it was.
That's your vibe. You got a lot of basketball, and then there's a lot of hip hop.
I've been the same person for 28 years, you know, I haven't changed one bit. I stay true to 5-year-old Rufat, you know.
Yeah.
That's my thing. But yeah, man, it was a lot of Shaquille O'Neal. It
Oh
was a
yeah.
lot of it
Fushnik.
was a lot of Dallas Cowboys, a lot of, you know, any rap that I could basically take in, I was taking in. So like my first couple albums were Skilo, and then like and
Yeah.
then like a Shaq album and a Dion album. But then like as I
Skilo is underrated. I wish it was a little bit taller. I wish it was a baller. I wish it, I know I sound corny as hell saying, but I really don't. I'm learning to not give a fuck, and that being genuine is the only thing. If you
yeah,
want
man,
life, but
it helped
Skilo was
me.
dope. That beat was funky. I think Warren G. Somebody good must have done that beat.
Yeah, yeah. I just, like I said, I just kind of like hip hop formed my opinions and just everything about the world. I remember getting like a Death Row Greatest Hits CD in karate class
Oh
from this kid
wow.
that was older than me.
Oh
And, you
shit.
know,
That's the only way to get a Death Row Greatest. I remember that album. You got it on cassette. The dude, it probably had the dude's ball sweat from when he stole it from Sam Goody still on it, from when he shoplifted, when he shoved it down his trousers and his gi right before practice. No, that Death Row, that's a good album, right? Like that has a bunch of Dre joints and Easy. No,
yeah.
or does
No, it had Tupac, it had Lady Rage, it had let's see, it had Dr. Dre, the bells keep ringing. That song was amazing.
Yeah,
You know, yeah, just a lot of good stuff. It had Snoop, a lot of Snoop on it. So
yeah.
I mean, that was just,
Those rage
man,
cuts are, yeah, those are bangers. That's all Dr. Dre like production right around the Chronic. You know, that Chronic album, even that one hit me in college. So I grew up Run DMC, Beasties, and my first concert was Houdini, Fat Boys, and Grandmaster Flash. No, it was Fat Boys, Run DMC on their second album, and the Fat Boys. But there's certain hip hop, like it always trips me out how big it's gotten because I saw it from so little. Like you go to Chase Bank and like Jay-Z's on my ATM and shit. And but there's always big records, and the Chronic, that was a huge album production wise. Like I think sonically, even amongst music in general, that album was another level.
Yeah. And George Clinton had a lot to do with it. Like all that West 100%. Coast sound. It was
100%. It was all the funk. It's just the G-Funk. That the G-Funk is just too good. George Clinton's just too good. He's just too good. He's just too good. It's like the Grateful Dead. If you don't get it in the beginning, you don't get it. But once you start to do music and art, I think you get it. Like those guys aren't. George Clinton isn't faking the funk.
No, when I went to college in Tallahassee, and George Clinton lives in Tallahassee, so I had a chance. I went to his recording studio and I recorded in it, and I saw the spaceship, and I went through they got like a little house, and it's just old dudes getting high, painting, and they're into remote control like monster truck cars. So they got like little. It's just it's just
dope.
It's sick.
Yeah, I think he's an artist to the core, man. I think he's just one of those dudes that just keeps it moving. He's gonna keep it funky. And yeah, I know in Detroit, like I did open for like his backup band at a High Times event. And it was like all the original P-Funk dudes, but it seemed like everybody in Detroit like played with them. Like there's so many musicians in Detroit and shit. Like it just seemed like he had a family. Like it seemed like there was a community of singers, songwriters, keyboardists, dancers that were all like, just in the music circuit. And they would just jump on for a while and jump off. And you would just, you would just do the funky stuff.
It's a beautiful thing to see, and it's not something that you always get in comedy. You know, because everyone's so at each other's neck in our industry. But I think
Yeah,
that
but I think making movies and making short films, that's when you can really like, that's kind of like album production. That's what I like about album production. Like,
mhm.
I'm making some music now. Like, I've never been a freestyle rapper. I've never thought like what interested me was the songwriting and the production and the soundscape and what it felt like and what it looked like. Like that always like I love that shit.
That's one thing I think, you know, having time off is I learned how to write scripts, and I got really into script writing.
Totally.
And it really showed me that like I love stand-up comedy, but like all of my favorite comedians all know how to write scripts. They all know how to tell this story and like leave you with, you know, leave you with a movie or a series that like can live forever that you'll rewatch. Not saying you can't rewatch stand-up specials like that, but it's just like, you know, it's
The higher level of art. No, if you want to be a creative person, the thing about movies is it's the most expensive art form. So then you
mm-hmm.
have to engage with corporate America or a money backing. But if it works, dude, you got to, it's like opening a Tesla. You know, it's like, you know, The Godfather is a fucking industry. Like, you know, one
Yeah.
movie, The Godfather equals Coca-Cola. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and that's from art. And what art is something from nothing, you know? And if you can make
Yeah.
something from nothing be as dope as anything else, you know, it's just like,
But that's the beautiful thing about stand-up is that like people think that like script writing is this more important higher level when it's the total different way. It's like my stand-up informs the thing that I write. So at the end of the day, I need that thing. You know, it's like it's an ecosystem, you know?
yeah.
Like I need this thing to kind of inform who I am, my voice, my character, and then it'll, you know, play out in this bigger, more scripted, less, I don't want to say less organic thing, but yeah.
Yeah, I was talking to a cat at a show. That show I ran into you. I was talking to Martin, that dude, and I was talking to him, and I was talking to him about script writing. For me, it's like script writing is not. There's nothing artsy about it.
Mm-hmm.
It is manual labor. It
Yeah.
it is put in work. It is literally you got to sit in front of that typewriter and fucking bang that motherfucker out.
Well,
And you could talk to your friend, you can outline, you could do this, you could do that, but there are great steps. I know outline is key and getting your ending is key. um
yo,
but
I've
just
always
getting to
been
100
so,
pages, just getting to a 90 pages, like I think that's the joint. Like
mm-hmm.
for me it's like shit it out and then refine it, you know, just but the hardest part is shitting it out.
Dude, that's so important. I'm so obsessed with like the process of how to do things when it comes to things like that. And you're completely right. The only way I know how to do things is shit them out. But it goes on a deeper level. It goes with like judgment and being self-conscious. So it's like that's the main reason that I am kind of like obsessed with like the processes of things, because like at its very core, it's just like learning how to deal with yourself, either self-hatred or like how much you love yourself. And it's like, what are you so scared of like just shitting it out for, man? What do you like, get over this whole perfection bullshit, man? Like it's kind of almost like an exercise in loving yourself, you know?
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, you can't, you know, yeah, I think any art form you have to be vulnerable to be good, you know, and I think the bravest people are the most vulnerable. So,
Mm,
you know, when you write, that's just like the trick lately for me is being creative and being and coming up with ideas and stuff like this. But it's also you're massaging the ego. So
mm-hmm.
a lot of the ego, that judgment and stuff is the ego like stopping you, you know?
Mm.
So now my thing is just trying to recognize when I see my ego come out.
I mean, that's the reason. The reason why I fell in love with the way you performed in your stand up, man, is because, yeah, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but like your jokes and the way you approach ideas make me feel at ease with my mortality. You know, like
uh,
I'll hear one of your jokes. I'll be like, I'll laugh, and then I'll be like, man, and I'm ready to die now, man. You know, like,
oh, thanks, man. I don't know.
yeah, man. I don't know if that like what that means to you.
I don't know what that means to me either, but I know I think you get me, and you know, a lot of it is just like you have to accept death, and then you have to accept ego. And as candy ass as my act is, you know,
No.
there is, you know, there is a little bit of a dark side to it, you know. I think in everything, you know, in everything there's like a yin and the yang, so you have to be aware of it, I think, and be self-aware. But yeah, I think I go deep. I think it may be the herb. Where are you at with the herb these days, my man Rufat? I'm enjoying
Um,
a little bit of CBD, but a little bit of regular flower in this Marley one hitter.
let's see. So I haven't done a lot of it. And that's just because like I was kind of just scared to like what thoughts it might bring up, even though I'm doing good.
Right.
And I had the big homie Rob come visit me, Rob Haze.
Rob Haze. Shout out Rob Haze, my man.
Yeah, he stayed at the house and he left he left me a joint one night, and we smoked together a little bit, but like he left me a joint, and it was like this lemon meringue, and because you know he's LA Rob now, so he's getting the lemon meringue. He's not
He's getting the top of the line.
no more sour diesel from a weird guy in New York.
Yeah, I do love me some Sour Diesel just because I like writing 90s rap songs. But no, but I know what you're saying. These new citrus blends are amazing, and they taste,
Yeah,
aroma is like art.
and I was so, you know, I felt energized. I felt good, nothing bad. So there was that, and then I got some edibles at a show, and I was, you know, did a couple of those. Those knocked me out on my ass, but the last couple of times I've done weed, man, I've been mentally pretty stable and pretty good. Like, not that it fucks me up, but like I just remember smoking in college, and it was right when I was coming off of being like a very dedicated Christian. And I remember being high, and I'm like, this is what the devil would want you to do. You're in his grasp. And I'm like, oh man. You know, so
Yeah,
for the
man.
most
You
part,
have to watch your mental with it. And I always say I didn't start smoking until after 18, and I recommend people not smoking. And it got me off of booze,
mm-hmm.
being hardcore. That's what I liked about it. But yeah, yeah. And you came up in those 90s, and everybody's like smoking heavy blunts and shit like that. So you were just taking it to the dome, you know,
Yeah.
right after hardcore Christianity. That's a triple flip right there, man. You take
I
these blunts to the dome at 19 after doing some Christian rapping about turning the other cheek for 6 years.
yeah, man. I just yeah, I think my relationship with weed has kind of gotten to a point where it's like I'll do it, but it is a it's like eating Ben and Jerry's for me. Like I don't do it all the time, but
Totally.
when I do it, it's like a treat, and I like that. I like that about weed.
Getting
You know
that
what I mean?
way, yeah, in society, it's getting there that we can treat it with a lot more respect. And I think
Yeah.
that's the way to go. You know, I don't know why I do like it so much, but it does work with me. And so as it gets legalized, I don't want to walk away from it. But at the same time, I do think, like anything, just spacing stuff out is always great, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, even the wiser words are, is like, if you really like to get lit, you know, if you don't do it that much. and you'll get super lit.
Yeah.
Don't do that much. And you know, that's more bang for your buck. And at the same time, economically, it benefits you if you don't do it as much. And it just goes up. And I do think what it does is open your consciousness. And there's a good part of that. That's why you do go into dark thoughts, and you can watch out, and you can, you know, because you're opening your consciousness. So if you're doing that a lot, you're bound to like some of that shit to seep in. And then that gets into your head a little bit. So I think the same thing with mushrooms. Like I noticed people that ate a lot of mushrooms, like in the beginning, they would love it, but then they would start bad tripping. You know what I mean? Like they would, because they would overdo it. Like I think there's like some type of weird like nature mechanism that's teaching us how to respect it a little bit. I don't know.
It's so weird. I've never done psychedelics. It's so weird that I just have never taken the time to just, you know.
You've always been on the hustle though. You were a Christian rapper, turned stand-up comedian in Brooklyn, New York, man. That you didn't have a lot of time for sitting and staring at the tree for 12 hours.
I know, but I'm learning more and more how to just like trust. I'm learning more and more. It's like, yeah, work hard, but like set a time out to work and then let the subconscious mind do the rest, you know?
Yeah.
Don't force the solutions. Just you know, create the problems. Solutions will come just because your brain's a supercomputer.
Yep.
Yeah. Not everybody. Not everyone has the super.
But it is, if you, I think it's the distractions. Like it's always right there, but you just have to slow down. And I think that's what the quarantine taught us all, was just like how to slow down. I'm still like, have you had like a regular day? Like, have you had a regular day and then you come home and you're like, God damn, that kicked the shit out of me.
Yeah.
You just like,
yes, I have.
You just like went to 2 places. You just wore regular pants for like more than 5 hours, and then you come home and you're like, oh shit, I'm fucked up.
Yeah. That regular day hit different.
Yeah, where are you at with sweatpants these days? I'm rocking a lot. Like I got 4 or 5. Where? Oh, you got some nylon joints. I
got some windbreaker joints.
Yeah. Oh, nice.
But see, the thing is, I'm just wearing more pants in general, and I just love pants. That's like my thing. So I'm always going to like, I get a pair of pants, I go to the tailor. So it's I'm not wearing a lot of the comfy pants, even though the pants I'm wearing, they are very like, you know, I got nice work pants. I got, you know, I spent $300 on a fucking pair of Japanese denim. Those are great. But then I also
They better be great.
I also spent,
but I've had some nice denim.
I spent, you know, I'm the guy that I wear $300 denim, but then I also bought $12 like Walmart black jeans that are great as well. So like, I'm not a price guy. I quality is all across the board, whether it be 12 or 300.
You like what you like. I got it, Rufat. You like what you like, man.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I like. I got like a polyester joint. And then I got another one, and then I got some black champions that I'm rocking right now. But they're good for stretching. Like I do a lot of yoga and a lot of meditating since this joint. But it's now opening up. Are you meditating or doing yoga?
I'm reading a lot. I'm not doing yoga. I'm more of a runner. So yesterday I went out on a really good run. I love biking. Meditating.
You get for running? Are you doing Nike Air Pegasus joints?
Yeah, I usually do Pegasus. I got a pair of Solomons that I bought for fashion, and they just didn't like work. They kind of looked like nurse shoes because they were all white. So I just started wearing them for what they were made for. Started wearing them to run, and they were great.
I got a great new pair of Solomon. I live and die by Solomons, you know. That's my joint.
Yeah.
I've been rocking Solomons. The knees. It's all about your knees. Your knees as you get older. That's why I'm excited about CBD and cannabis getting older. and using it that way, you know?
I also was blessed this summer to link up with comedians and play basketball. That was a saving, that was a saving grace of this whole thing. I
Shoot,
played
there's some
so
awesome courts here in New York. Does it blow your
yeah,
mind you're playing in Brooklyn, dude?
bro. We're anywhere from like Pulaski to St. John. Sometimes, have you been to Brooklyn Heights where they have those courts underneath the roofing or whatever, like
Yeah, yeah,
on
yeah,
the
yeah.
on the
Down there.
water,
Yeah, and there's like a skate park there. Totally. Those things
bro.
oh, dude, you're looking at the whole city. That's the diamond in the rough right there, homeboy.
That joint looked like a level on NBA Street,
I
That
know it
joint is
looks like a
crazy.
movie. Yeah, like an adult Bring It On. Like it would be like they would do the
Yeah,
final scene right there, man, looking over the city. It's sick.
hell yeah. You gotta play basketball where there's a helipad. That's what you gotta do. They haven't really.
There's another one that I shoot at that's close by to that. It's like right before you go over the bridge, but it's behind this Catholic school. And I don't know, it's just like nobody's over there in the park. It just sits above and it's just sick. And sometimes I just got a basketball and I'm terrible at hoops. But I do like shooting. And I think basketball, as all sports, I think basketball is like the most artistic and cool. Like football's
Yeah.
kind of like too savage these days. Like, I mean, I get it, but it's like, and I used to play it, but it's literally like you want 35-year-old men, running at each other at top speed.
Yeah, it's pretty wild.
Smashing noggins for, I don't know.
I'm all for bringing those leather helmets back.
Yeah,
I
with
think
no
them
face
joints would
straps.
go.
Yeah.
No face mask, leather helmets. You're more cautious that way,
Yeah, you're definitely. I would love to see that. And yeah,
Mm.
no pads and no roids in regular NFL football.
Just sweaters.
Sweaters and
Sweaters.
you got to cap it out. If they cap the money out, that would bring if they cap the money out in football, like you could only make like 55 grand.
Yeah.
But I think some of those dudes still make 55 grand. Like if you're like a third lineman on an NFL team, you'd be
well on the practice squad. I know that you get like, you know what? On the practice squad, you still get six figures.
Wow.
It's like, yeah, the compensation is legitimate, but like,
even if you're a scrub
taxes
in the NFL, as long as you get to the NFL, you're saying six figures.
Yeah, and we're actually. Oh man, I was gonna ask you what some of your favorite places are in New York. In New York, anywhere, just to like, what are like them hidden gems that you're like, I'm going on a walk here. No one, like.
Oh, dude,
But
Prospect Park all day. I mean, Prospect Park, splash pad around there. That's where the Jamaicans hang out, man. You can smoke herb out right by the water over there. That's fucking super chill.
I have you been to Ditmas Park over there, like where those mansions are? Over by like, I think it's Rutland Avenue or something like that. Those crazy houses.
Yes. There's a subway stop right there, right?
Something like by Corvaloo.
Yeah, what's that? I think that's where my coffee shop I did my video at, Coffee and Weed at Vox Pop, was in that neighborhood. Like it's like an old Brooklyn neighborhood with all these crazy big houses with yards and shit.
Yeah, man. I've gotten high there before, and just like at night, just go out in there and walk, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? This is wild. Yeah.
Brooklyn's beautiful.
You've been to Fort Tryon over there by the Cloisters, 190th, deep in Manhattan.
Oh. Think so. What's over there? Yeah, it's just crazy
park. Yeah.
By the water and shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, you could take your bike there. Are you a bike cat? If you're a bike cat, you really get to know this town.
I'm all about the bike, yo. All about the bike.
So you've done all of Manhattan, all of Brooklyn, and all of Queens.
Most of it, I believe so. Most of it, just by getting around and stuff. Yeah.
You know what I've been sneaking off to is Rockaway. I think Rockaway Beach is where it's at. Like if I get into some cash, I'm gonna get a place out there, man.
I've been thinking Catskills, man.
Catskills is dope. If you want to go mountain man, if you want to, and I know
Yeah,
a lot of people that have moved up north. In terms of art and creation, I do think you can do it just about anywhere.
sometimes I'll be real with you. Sometimes that's like the dream. Sometimes I want to get to like the peak of my the peak of my popularity and then disappear and have dudes be like, yo, y'all remember Rufat? Where is he now? You know, and I'm in the Catskills.
Catskills, fishing.
Yeah,
I want to
in
go
Roscoe,
fishing.
New York.
Yeah, get it, man. Get it. So get a beehive. If I can start raising some bees,
Yeah.
make their art live forever. Yeah, that's the thing is, but you got to have it in your soul that you're done. And only your soul knows when you're done.
uh,
So if you still got some funk, man, I just feel like I still got some funk in me to put out, especially after this quarantine. Like I'm psyched to get out and hit the streets.
bro, the reason why I quit rapping was because I came to grips with the fact that like I probably won't be able to be 60 years old and still performing. And so like
Yeah,
I
those
got
late nights are tough. Like even as a
yeah,
stand-up comic, like that's why I'm so health conscious, guys, man. Like it's like, dude, I stretch, I drink water, I take vitamins like all day, every day, even before this shit. And now I just do it even more. Because late
but
night living, then they'll take you down. The road will take
yeah.
you down. If you're really like about that life, about getting gigs and surviving that way, you know, it can take a wrong turn after 5 years.
Mm-hmm. I just, you know, I just think it's so beautiful that we could be stand-ups and gray hair, old and still performing, man. I just think that's beautiful.
Yeah,
And
funk is
people,
funny.
yeah, yeah, man. That's the yeah, you're right. I got a lot. I feel like I got a lot more funk in me, man. I mean, the reason why not not only not only was I impressed, you know, by as a young comedian in Brooklyn, young, you know, air quotes, because like you, I started older. I
Yeah,
started when I was 27.
yeah.
And that's like the thing. I would see you close out all these different shows around Brooklyn and in the city. And then I started, you know, when I started putting on shows, I always tried to make you a part of them. And like when I got to talking to you, I thought it was awesome that you started when you were 27 like me. Cause like,
Totally.
yeah, man.
Yeah, it's a little like you. I look back on my life and I'm like, dude, I've lived like 3 or 4 different lives. You know,
Mm,
I do feel like that way. And then with comedy, it just clicked that kind of worked. Smoking weed, goofing off, writing silly stuff like that's all in my wheelhouse. And performing, I always loved getting on stage, and I always wanted to be a part of show business. I knew I didn't want to have a regular job. So yeah, just figuring it out, man. And a lot of it is just survival. The older I get, the more I'm like, now I'm at an age that I'm just like thankful. And I look back and everything's just like I'm working like from a place of being grateful for like all the fun, all the great shows, all the shit I've done where I could have taken a wrong turn or shit gone wrong or gone bitter. Like I still got it in me. I still got more to do. And I still have a lot of fun doing it. And yeah, it's just the constant with meditation. If you don't know the constant, then you're fucking lost. And that's the gig, man. It's like comedy's never figured out. Your art is never figured out. It's all like trying to find out how to be more genuine, you know?
yeah. And I think is now that I'm doing like more stuff, you I'm at the place where I'm like, okay, well, this is when I started, this is where I wanted to be. This is what I wanted to have. But now the rejection is so much more, you know, and having to deal with that when you said like either turning bitter or jealous or this or that. Yeah, man, like you really got to come to terms with like, I'm doing this just to do this, man. Everything else is like whatever.
It's hard. It's hard. I've gone down that road and I've been lost down that road a lot of times. And it's an everyday battle of like, I think it's just a lack of focus. Like you get distracted by some other shit, and you let other whack thoughts, you get billions of thoughts shot out at you. And the older I get, the more I'm like, you have to let them all go. You just have to keep flowing and work in the moment. And like, this is funny. I like doing this. This is the show. Work, for today. I still don't know what's going on. I'm still looking at my list. I did that show in the park. That was so much fun, man.
Dude,
Full
yeah.
circle. Yeah. And Black Woodstock. That shit was fucking fire, man.
Dude, that's another thing. During the pandemic, me and the host, Techlie, we became such close friends, man. That's one of my homies. We have a web
quality dudes. You're one of the more fascinating dudes. He's one of the more quality dudes I've met in a long time.
He is, yeah, man. We have a web show together, and I always enjoy talking to him, man.
He's smart.
He is, man. He is just just wisdom, wisdom. He's like an old Ethiopian man,
But I also like him because he's also an odd weirdo too.
Yes.
In the best way. He's funky. He's a Bay Area funkster, man. That guy's cool as hell.
And he has a righteous indignation about him, but it's actually one of the things that I do like. I do like kind of getting into tussles with him, little verbal tussles. We get into our little verbal tussles. But yeah, man.
You both have very strong opinions, and you both are on the cutting edge of race, religion, politics. It's all right there.
Yeah.
I was going to ask you, like, where are you? Like, how long were you Christian rapping? Like, what was that all about? I only have you like for another like 10, 15 minutes, and I just wanted to get in. But shout out Full Circle Comedy and Tech, and shout out his new show. Like, I've seen clips of it on IG, and I think it's dope.
Thank you, man. I started, I was a bad kid. I was smoking weed, doing stuff, and
was mom and dad home?
That's the thing. No, like I moved out of my mom's house when I was 12 because she needed some time to like, her whole thing was like, I'm gonna move to the suburbs, then you can move back with me. But then I moved with my dad in Florida and I just stayed. And that's how I got to Florida. But while in Florida, I was like super bad when I got there. Just a continuation of being bad. And then I found church and I went to like, I went to the first hip hop church in the United States. It was the very first of its kind. And dudes were...
What was it called?
It's called Crossover Church.
Oh, nice.
And dudes were like, they would have like these show nights, and there'd be dudes graffitiing, it'd be dudes breakdancing, and then you had the rap concerts, and they would be like, the fifth element of hip hop is Jesus. Because there's four,
Yeah.
But the fifth, I guess, is Jesus.
Yeah,
it's a big day. But it really helped me to find, and I'm not knocking it at all. It is a joke. I have jokes about it, but like it really helped me find a purpose to do right in my life until I guess what I would say is like that I didn't need it, that the veil kind of came down for me and let me realize that, hey, like you could do this without religion or church. Like you could still be a good person without being incentivized with heaven and mansions up there. You know what I mean?
But the vibe at church is always good. And I do think it's good, especially if you don't have like a strong family or you're looking for maybe a sense of tenderness and humanity in life. And at a young age, it's just coming at you fast. And I always think it's great to take a day off. And I always thought that was dope. And I think people They should take Sunday off for real. Like everybody shouldn't do shit on Sunday. But
Yeah.
But church, especially African American church, the music is so dope. And then you combine like a warm, good emotion of Jesus and love and forgiveness and, you know, kindness. That's what people need. So, yeah, man,
And then
there's a reason for it.
the hang after is always the best.
Oh, yeah, man.
No? The hang after is the best.
How long was your service?
Depends on what church I was going to. When I first
African American churches, they go too long. I always say, if after 1 hour, I'm done. After 1 hour, I give up on Jesus, God, everybody. Like, we gotta get out of here. You can't keep me for 90 minutes. You can't do this. And all movies should be 90 minutes. All church service has to be under an hour. All podcasts gotta be under an hour.
I'm gonna be real with you. Sometimes church, like basically like when I first started going to like a more of a community church, that was like more of guitars and they had a hard out after about like, you know, an hour. But man, then I started going with my best friend and his mom to their church, which was an African American church or Black church, whatever you want to, you know, call it. Man, that joint was like the Irishman.
Yeah.
That joint was, you know, we were in there all day.
All day. Yeah, oh yeah, all day. And Catholic church can be like that too. Like you go with, I was Methodist and we were just done in 50 minutes sometimes. And I like that. Like I can handle that. But I had to wear a coat and tie and sit there. Be quiet. There was no phones, no nothing. You just draw, you know, dirty pictures and show it to your brother. Try to make each other laugh because it's so damn boring, man. At least my church was kind of boring. The music was kind of good, but it wasn't like a Black church. It was just like, I went to a Baptist church a couple times in DC and I had friends. We were connected, the Baptists and Methodists. So I think we did like shit over there too. And, but it was just slamming, man. Organ, a drum set. You know, when you go into church and the dude got a drum set, that's when it's going to be kind of fiery.
The best musicians all started church, man.
Oh, rock and roll all came from the church. All came from the church because it all comes from the church. Like that's where everybody got their chops, man. Because that's where the only place you're allowed to show that much joy.
Who else is letting you rap when you're 13? You know what I mean? Like church. It's either that. And
what was your name? What was your rapper name? And you probably had several. What was the first one?
I had several until I went by my name, but my first name was Abstract.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Abstract. That's dope.
Yeah.
But that doesn't have enough Jesus in it. Did you have anything else?
Nah, but the group name.
What was the group
name? Was, is Crisis.
Like a crisis.
Yeah.
Dude, we talk about that on stage,
bro. I have basically the joke is, that's the crazy thing about the joke is that I don't need to write punchlines for it. I just need to say the thing.
You just have to do yourself. Yeah. And it's the hardest thing. I know it's hard, but stand up, after you do it for a long enough time, it is a pretty easy concept.
Yeah. But so Crisis stood for Christian rappers influenced by scripture, infiltrating Satan. That was literally what it's. I remember coming up with it with my homie.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we're gonna penetrate Satan.
Yo, are you there?
Yeah, I'm right here.
Yo.
Check. I think you froze up.
I can't hear you.
Oh no. There we go. Check. Can you hear me now?
The connection is unstable.
Uh-oh.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, dude, that is a hilarious story.
You're going a little slow.
Check 1, check 2.
You're locking up.
Oh no. Check 1.
I can't hear you.
Oh no. Yeah. Okay. Rufat, there you go. Check one, check.
Hello?
Yep. Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, dude, that was Satan.
That was Satan.
Yeah.
Block it, man. Dude, thank you.
Did you hear the name?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
That you were infiltrated. They got scared, man. The demons got scared. Demons got scared of your rap style, man. What was your number one song? What was the banger? What would bring the house down?
You know what?
I love you, motherfucker.
No, I remember the hook from the song, and the hook was, "It's a crisis because men are Christless. We grab mic devices to save the unrighteous."
I like that. Those are bars, man. Those are pretty good. I like that. I like that. It's a crisis. What was the other 4 words?
Because men are Christless.
Okay. But the
we grab mic devices.
I like that. Grab mic devices.
To save the unrighteous.
To save the unrighteous. Now, that part, that's a bar. I don't know about the crisis. That's when you start getting preachy. But I get preachy too with my shit. Like, yeah, the ego and just like, yeah, the thing that there's great stuff about religion, but there's also a dark side. And I think maybe you experienced that a little bit, the conformity. You were just like, I'm kind of growing out of that. And politically, you're at a really heightened aware because you've come from, you know, a different country and have experienced all the different turns. So
yeah, and it's tough for me to ever, I wouldn't say fully get behind anything, but fully get excited about something anymore, because it's like, even though ideas are cool and movements are cool, I'm always like weary, because I'm like, well, there's a black and a white side to everything. And I always, because of religion and because of like you said, war and stuff like that, I'm just really weary to like go full gung ho on anything.
I think that's wise. Yeah. I think that's wise.
But in our times, you got to be like, do this right now all the time. If you don't, you are.
I know. I struggle with all that, and I struggle a lot with like not wanting to get political and Black Lives Matter and standing up. And I do think you got to stand up, but then absorbing too much political energy gets me. Same thing with if I absorb too much comedy. Lately, I've been like shutting off other people's podcasts off. Like, my brain can only handle so much, but we are in changing times, and white supremacy is out there and you have to be aware of it. And I think everybody's evolving, everybody's just evolving, and it's like the bends, some people are freaking out because they're moving up too fast or something,
Yeah, no, it's definitely, you got to be, proactive with, your voice, and you got to be doing the right things, supporting the right things. How should I say it? After a while, because you're inundated with so much, with so many different struggles coming at you on, social media and everything, people tend to get a fatigue. They tend to get a fatigue. And what ends up happening is just that everyone begins virtue signaling, because there's only so much you as one person can do to save the world. And it's a collective effort, So yeah, religion and church will teach you that, like, though, the gospel is great, what's going on behind the scenes is there's real work, and there's sometimes stuff that you might not want to know about and stuff like that. So I don't know. A dark turn on the coffee podcast. This is why I don't smoke weed.
No. I think you're 100% right, man. It's just no, I think we're all evolving. Yeah, you got to make your but lately it's like that's what I do like about Christianity, is non-judgment and the pacifism. That's what I dig. and I'm learning like soft is hard, hard is soft. You know, everything is like, it's like the worst people, the worst doo-doo art out there is actually some of the highest end art, you know, and some of the most high end art is just straight up self-absorbed doo-doo, you know, it's just like the yin and the yang of it all. I'm more fascinated you know, I just, that's where my happiness and joy comes from, is just like being present, you know, and
Mm-hmm.
you can only control yourself. That's what I've been learning as I get older. Like, instead of, I can't telling people what to do is the worst thing. You know, no, everybody hates being told what to do. They hate it.
Yeah. And I think the inconsistencies and the contradictions of life and everything are what makes for some of the best comedy, you know?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that's our goal.
Our goal.
We gotta find all the glitches in the matrix and kind of like be like, you'll never notice. I mean, that's basically what all of this shit is just us, you know, finding where the record skips and being like, hey, I'll ever.
And I think the reminder is never to take, the thing about comedy that's so hardcore is like, it's the reminder to never take anything too serious.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's the only way you get out of serious shit, is by joking on it, you know. And that's with true comedians, people that understand humor. But I do think it's like anything, all this shit can get weaponized and be used in the wrong way, you know.
Mm-hmm.
So you gotta, but I also think, you know, you just gotta worry about you and do the best, you know, try to, as I say, get, you know, be your higher self is looking at you like, yo, you can do that. You know, you're doing great, Rob. I can see you're about to pull off a good special here. You got some material.
Mm-hmm.
You can put out these rap tracks. Are you hitting the booth? Do you write raps anymore, man?
I don't, man.
You
I
just went
don't.
so hard in the paint for so many years. I don't know, people don't understand, but like, you know, Mac Miller. Like, did you know Mac Miller?
I opened up for him. I opened up for Wiz. The first
Wow.
person that I hung out with in New York when I moved here was M1 from Dead Prez. So
Oh,
like,
cool.
yeah, I was like, yeah, I was on it. But you know, here when I first came to New York, ASAP Rocky was the big thing, right?
Yeah.
That was the first person. My first video when I came here was shot by the same guy that shot ASAP Rocky's first video, and he did it for me for free. And so I was here. I had buzz. I was doing stuff. I was at Warner Brothers with another group that my manager managed. So we were on the cusp of like certain things, and it was great because the other day I performed at one of Khalil's show. You know Khalil, right?
Hmm.
Yeah, he does like the horseplay comedy thing. And
Yeah, yeah.
so
I haven't seen everybody in a year, but yeah, yeah, I know exactly who you're talking about.
I was there and I performed. And then afterward, this guy came up to me and he was like, yo, man, you know, I really fuck with your shit, man. Like, I see how you're thinking. I see what you're doing. The people don't even fully grasp, you know, some of like the shit you were saying, because it's like more urban shit. And I was like, oh, thank you, man. I was like, I appreciate it. He's like, yeah, you know, I put on the ASAP Yams thing. And so I guess he's an ASAP crew member. And it was just nice to kind of see it all go kind of like back to the same start, like where I started, but with a different thing, and kind of get that confirmation, like, all right, I didn't fuck up by quitting rap, you know, like I chose the right thing to do. You know, it's kind of like a nice little confirmation along that path, you know.
Comedy's hard, man. It is singing the blues, you know, at the end of the day. Like, there's no shortcuts. That's what sucks.
Yeah, yeah.
We all tried to find it and stuff like that. But I think you are in your generation, like everybody's saying, like everybody's coming out with TV shows, and like stand up is awesome. And like I live and die by stand up, but I've been doing some acting too. And so that's kind of dope. Writing is kind of dope. And it's all there, you know? And as a
Mm-hmm.
comedian, you can do all those gears, you know? And
Yeah.
as a hip hop artist, the thing about hip hop, like it is such a box now because it's gotten so big. Like it's hard to step out sometimes. But 50 Cent is,
Yeah.
he got famous, he stepped out, he makes money, you know, producing television shows. Like the real money is being a producer and ownership and creating art on that level, you know, doing feature films and shit like that. So if I ever got a chance to write on some dope shit, that would be awesome. Or even, you know, direct something or help direct something smaller scale. Like I could see myself as a director, like eventually down the line. Like that's a good way of looking at it too. Like, oh, I don't know if I could be doing these clubs when I'm 78. Well, I might do a couple clubs, you know, I might, who knows? Like, I think you should never like lose the skill, but at the same time, directing, you know, there's just so much out there and it's all at your fingertips.
I've been consuming over the last couple of weeks so much Gary Shandling, like,
oh yeah,
and it's changed my life
He's the
so
king.
much. And yeah, it's kind of the same thing with him. It's like he did these shows, he did all these like creative endeavors, he did stand-up, and then like later on in his life came back to stand-up. Like
yeah,
it's like the thing of like it informs who you are. It literally is the dojo, you know, it is the thing that builds you find out what type of warrior you are. And then that informs your voice on everything that you write and everything that you do, you know?
Yeah, I'm just learning like the things I dig is like tone and texture. And like, it's just like a lot of the art or whatever we're doing, you know, with stand up is like the tone of my voice, all that is like heavily controlled because I've been doing it for so long and I know what I like, you know, I know it sounds funny to me. Same thing as a rapper, like, or a guitarist. It's like, so you could play a chord, but like BB King hitting a chord and holding it, like that's a whole other feel. Like it has a different, you know, same thing with a basketball player. That's what I like about basketball. Like a ball player just has a certain touch to his shot or a tone. And maybe he's not as good, but he still looks fresher than everybody else because his style is different, and or it's bringing something new to the collective.
Yeah, definitely. Every player has their own little thing that they do and who they are. You see a little guy like Trae Young pulling up from the logo, and then you see a guy like, you know, Embiid, who's 7'2" and huge with the finesse of like a small guy. I mean, basketball is it's a beautiful thing, man.
Isn't it?
I love
yeah.
And I love the fact that I've been able to connect comedy with it, man. Like some of my best friends, you know, like I've been on their podcast talking about hoops. It's just beautiful.
Getting hot, man. Brooklyn's getting hot right now with the Nets, and then the stars at MSG, man. I'm seeing all these huge, like that seems like the place to be. It's becoming like a full-on thing. Have you been to any hoop games? I know you're a hooper. Like that is.
I'm going on Saturday with the homie Joe. He bought tickets to go to the Nets Bucks game.
Oh, nice. That will be a hot game, dude.
Yeah, man. It'll be day after second dose. You know what I mean? I'm being that joint dosed up.
Ah, fully vaxxed. You're not on fully vaxxed yet. Yeah.
Not yet. I got there a little bit late just because I was like working, and I scheduled it one time, and then I was in the middle of a move, and I was like, I can't go all the way to the Bronx, you know? So
I didn't have my wife yelling at me, I would have fucked it up a couple times, man. yeah, and it's hard. It's hard. It's a whole other thing. This pandemic, like just moving shit around, like it's just hard. Shit is hard to line up and hit the landing, and that's why it's like getting back. Now I'm kind of like I'm getting back. I did that park show, which was dope. I'm figuring out. I got to hit you up for these new spots that are out there. I got to figure out some of these cats doing these fun shows in Brooklyn. It's a whole new scene out there. It's weird.
Even me, yeah. Like these.
I know, even you.
These new dudes like completely took over during the pandemic because I mean, really, they should have, because they need time. They're brand new, and they need to be out there working that muscle. And
that was the thing of, I didn't need to be out there, but if you were like if you said, this is my dream, and you started it like a year into this shit, You just figured out stand up. The thing about stand up, you got to go hard in the paint the first 5 years, or it's gonna suck.
Yeah, yeah. That first 5 years is very important because I remember when I started, I was like 10. Not that I gave myself 10 years, but I'm like, I won't be mad if I don't get a single thing for 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, I don't matter if I get booked on one show for 10 years.
Yeah, you shouldn't think about any. You shouldn't think about anything. You should just think about your jokes. You literally should just be thinking about what you're gonna do, and that's where I'm at. Like, okay, this time I'm just gonna fucking figure out what cool shows I do. I'm gonna write this shit out and fucking go up there and do that over and over again.
I cannot wait until it gets to a point where like I'm able to start like working on new material constantly. I mean, I've been at shows, but
yeah, it's garbage out there, man. I don't know. I know I don't want no disrespect to the young bucks coming up in the pandemic, but yeah, I did a couple sets. It was straight garbage, but I mean, you get some laughs. I mean, it was kind of fun, but you know, it was kind of the act was kind of like the act of just the act. But now it's like really opening up. Like maybe, you know, I know I can't get my hopes up too far, and I know fall, everybody's like, it's going to come back and shit like that. But maybe, I don't know. It could. I think maybe I was a little too paranoid. Like maybe it's just going to fucking open up now that everybody's getting.
I mean,
so many shots. Free beer. When they start giving free Budweiser out for shots, they're giving out free Budweiser in West Virginia for shots right now.
Jesus, what's it called? I was at.
Like you can get a prize. I saw Megan Thee Stallion tickets in New York. You can get for real. That was what there was like gifts. Like he was on the thing, and they had one of them was like front row ticket. Like they were good gifts.
Man, I was on last night. We were on West 4th. Me and Ethan SP.
Yes.
Yeah, it's the homie. My best friend, my confidant. But yeah, I was on West 4th. And we were grabbing some food from Thila Walla. Man, dude, West 4th looked like West 4th of old, man. If anything, crazier. So we're definitely back. Like
I know that's the fun. People could. I mean, you can rag on New York and all that. And as old as I am, I'm still like, nah, this town's about to pop off. Like it feels like.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's a couple places where I live. I'm like, it's fucking Mardi Gras out here. Like. Dude, if the weather, it just got shitty the rainy week, but right before that, it was starting to get good. If the weather's good enough, people, I mean, yeah, man. Like it is what it is.
Have fun in Austin, Texas, you chumps. I'm
about to go to the rooftop and go to the dopest grill and go to about 3 different cool shows and meet about 1 billion people. Yeah, it's moving and grooving, man.
Bro,
no, in New York, there's a reason for it. There's a reason for it. When it's on, it's on.
There's no other place that I know of where last night I did a show at Bowery Electric downstairs in the music room, took my bike over to West 4th after Ethan got done at the Cellar, and then we went and grabbed Kati rolls and then watched. Went over to another bar and watched the back. I mean, it's the greatest city in the world, man. And when you're plugged in and you're doing comedy, you got shit to do. You're running around, you're gunning it, man. There's no greater feeling.
And the big guns are here and the big money's here. It's like there's a reason for it, man. The reason for it, but it's on. Like, yeah, when it's on, it's on. And it feels like the city's opening up, but it's a little scary that it's opening up so quickly and so fast.
Yeah,
but
because once it happens, they're not gonna be able to,
Rufat, I'm gonna sign off, man. You've been too good, and I appreciate your time. Thank you for doing the Cannabis Coffee Hour. Is there anything you want to give a shout out? You want to give out? You and Tech have a great podcast show. You want to give a shout out to, or?
Yeah. You can find us on YouTube. It's Worst of Both Worlds. Worst of Both Worlds. Rufat Camp, RUFATCAMP on any of the social medias. And other than that, you've inspired me to go to my room and meditate for 10 minutes. So,
dude, I've been doing 20-minute sessions. I've been, you messing with 475 hertz?
Nah, I don't know about that.
Oh, tones, man. There's all this stuff about your heart. I've been listening to these tones that are good for your heart. So I'll light a candle and I'll just do that for like, I've been going for like 20 minutes lately. Like it's almost like I'm meditating and weed have been fighting each other. Like one wants to do, I don't know. It's like I like them both. But I gotta pee right now, Rufat. I'm so
All right,
sorry.
man.
I'm gonna sign off. I love you.
Peace.
Thank you.
Love you.
What kind of coffee are you drinking?
I drank coffee from the Bodega with animal milk, with fresh from the teat, you know?
Yeah, fresh
Keeping
from
it
the
real.
New York Brooklyn teat right there. I love it. All right, everybody. I'm drinking this Deadhead roast from Java Joe's. They're in Brooklyn, local roaster. So that's it.
Nice.
I love you, man. Peace.
Peace.